Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Open up. Open up. Open up. Open up.
Welcome back, family, friends, fellow cannapreneurs. Welcome to the Cannabis Community Project, here for another weekly podcast from the CCP studios high up in Denver, Colorado. Here exploring the business side of this newly emerging Colorado economy, focusing on the business, the patient, the retailer, to the geek in the garage, creating that next innovation. This is the first media platform to help fellow cannapreneurs just like you build sustainable businesses while living the lifestyle.
Skunk Box is your premium herbal humidor. With the Skunk Box, you not only discreetly store your herbs, but restore them too, bringing back the taste, texture, and flavor you love. Order yours online today at skunk-box.com, where you can choose from different models and even customize them to meet your needs.
Hey cannapreneurs, how are you doing this week as we roll into April, just a couple days away? Can you believe it? Already a quarter way through the year, 2015. Wow. This year is really shaping up to be probably one of the best years for me personally and business-wise also. I mean, 2014 was a great year because we launched CCP Radio and really got it organized and solidified for the future of what we were doing. But we had a lot of struggles. I personally had a lot of struggles. I was involved in a couple lawsuits, legal battles, and had financial struggles and organizational struggles, trying to get things off the ground. Contemplated many times just giving it up, not moving forward, going back to mediocrity in life. But I pulled through, mostly because I was too scared to stop doing what I was doing out of the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, the fear of having to tell those that you told you were moving forward that now you're moving back. You know, sometimes you don't have to be a brave, heroic person to make strides in success. Sometimes you just have to simply hang on. And that's pretty much going to be my strategy. I'm going to hang on. I'm going to hang on for as long as I can and do the best I can. Make this show as best as it can be. And with that in mind, I will have the faith that things will get better. And so far, a quarter year into 2015, things are getting better. I have successfully defeated the lawsuits. I am out of the legal wranglings. I have paid off all of our debt, and we actually have a plus balance in the bank accounts. My wife has a baby coming due just under 2 months, our second child. We're looking at a home purchase at the end of the year. So many things that make you feel like an old adult, but yet I still feel so young. I can remember being 18, 19, 20, 23, 25, 28. Oh, I'm going to stop there because I don't want to actually give it away that I'm not as young as I used to be. And sometimes that can get you down, but sometimes it just needs perspective. And perspective is really about what I was thinking about all week long as I was putting this show together, because it's really with the type of people I love to hear stories from. Just your local mom and pop businesses getting up off the ground and growing. I sat down with Melissa and Clamper. That's right, you heard me, Clamper. There's not going to be much of an explanation, but that's his name. Clamper and Melissa from Southern California have their own personal homegrown business, making some infused edibles, piecing it together as they go day by day, trying to figure out how do you grow a business? How do you make this your career? How do you get out of everything else you're doing and turn this into the real life? Well, that's the conversation we had. And that's the conversation I love to have with people, is the one where you just get up and go. It's the model I've known most of my life, where you just get up and go and you start doing something, and every day you piece it together, and before you know know it, the bigger picture of the puzzle starts to present itself. It's the only path I know, it's the path I can take, but I'm a firm believer in just hearing other people's stories, talking about your own story, and learning as much as possible is how you hang on and advance forward. So as I was putting the show together, listening to Clamper and Melissa, reflecting on my own story and my own past, it made me want to reach out to all of you this week and really encourage you. If you want to be in this industry, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how much education, business background, all that matters is do you have enough grit to hold on, to put your mind to a singular goal, focus on it, and pursue it. Not be discouraged, not be distracted, to continually try to advance and make it better. Do you have what it takes? As I heard Billy Joel some years ago talk about the music industry and the changing times, he said some powerful words that meant a lot to me. He said, in today's age of incompetency, one only needs to be competent to be seen as great. And in a lot of ways, that's true for many things. Don't try to be Superman. Don't try to go out there and dominate the world. First start with being competent at what you do and get better at that. And the world shall be dominated upon the strength of your competency. Do you have the grip, the kung fu grip to hang on? Because every day there's a breeze coming through so strong to blow it right out of your hands. But if you're strong enough to hold on, it just might pull you along right into success. Before we hear that story, and before I keep babbling on about my own, let's make sure we don't forget last week's inspirational story. Did you hear that show? Hydrolock with Ian. Now, if you didn't see that video, it's up on Facebook and YouTube. That's a cool magic trick. No, it's not really magic. It's just physics, but it's pretty cool. Watch water get turned into gel with just a little bit of powder, and then listen to our conversation about water conservation, about growing a business, about his own upcoming entrepreneurial activities. Let me give you just a couple minutes right now to refresh our short-term memory relapse flashback, and then we'll move on to this week's show where we learn from Melissa and Clancy.
My name is Ian Azam. I'm a co-founder of Hydrolock. You can see me on the Marijuana Show. I'm basically here to talk with here about the cannabis industry, what we feel and what we're seeing and how we feel about it, and just kind of shooting some ideas with each other. And I also want to tell you a little bit more about what Hydrolock is. It's a nanopolymer you put in your soil, contains 1,000 times its weight in water, third generation of its kind. And I'm doing this to promote in the marijuana industry and beyond that, any farming or agriculture endeavor to conserve water and use Hydrolock or nanopolymers in general to help preserve water.
Water turns into a mud gel.
It does, yeah. It doesn't absorb
concrete.
Necessarily, yeah.
Right.
But it does cause a structure, sure.
It barricades more than absorbs. If we have to run for the hills, I think having a bottle of gel water might last longer in the elements.
It's true.
I might be the last man on earth all because of your gel water. I'm going to have to be responsible for the repopulation of the earth.
Yeah, exactly.
All because of Hydrolock.
Sure.
Right? About that. You were on the Marijuana Show, which is a YouTube-based, right?
Yeah, web-based.
Web-based show of a couple ladies that are investors doing a Shark Tank type. Yep. Actually, it's kind of a combination of Shark Tank combined with Apprentice, right?
Correct.
You got to pitch your product, and then you got to be picked.
What I love right now is it's local, man, and it's letting that become organic. See, it would have been too easy for
they're not
Walmart
struggling businesses, though. Right. I said if you have a struggling business.
Sure.
And if you have a struggling business, you're probably a small scale.
Especially restaurants.
If you're RJ Reynolds, that's not. I mean, yes, they will try to do that, but that's not what we want. I mean, we want the mom and pop who has, some business, whatever it is, that's struggling and looking for a market. Because, I mean, that's ultimately what's going to determine your success is if you can find an audience. I mean, we know there's people out there that would buy a product. Greens and...
Absolutely. Groundskeepers is the word, And then you also have the whole other market of, the fire. which I've been really trying to get into with Colorado Springs Fire Department. I've got some stuff working with them as well as Manitou Springs.
Right. Or whatever.
Well, there's two types of polymers, and I'm going to break it down for you, and you tell me what you think. I'm not going to give you too much information, but so you have polyacrylate, and then you have polyacrylamide.
I like one the way 8 sounds.
Yeah. One is toxic and one isn't.
The 8 is not toxic.
Correct.
Yes. I know nothing about science. Just based on pure lexicon of the vocabulary, I was making a judgment call. But I know absolutely nothing about chemicals, physics, biology, any type of science.
Right. No,
other than social sciences. So that was just pure luck.
Well, congratulations. If that was it, you'd have been a good tester.
Is this for a game show?
Yeah. Where are you?
Hey, if you have an idea or some thoughts about business, or maybe you have a business you would like to promote on the show, contact me, brainstorm at cannabiscommunityproject.com.
Right. No, we're not going to do that.
Hey, Cannapreneurs. This week's show is sponsored by Dairy Berries Recording Studio. Dairy Berries Recording Studio, located in Arvada, Colorado, is your local recording studio with affordable rates. Mark is well experienced and will make your show, music, or any audio you have sound great. He makes our show come across the internet loud and clear every week, and he can do the same for your project. Take a look at dairyberriesrecordingstudio.com or call Mark at 303-456-8216.
Hey guys, this is Mike in Florida. My reason to rebel is I'm going to be relocating my family and business from Florida to Colorado in the next 6 months or so, and getting out of a situation that I'm not real fond of, moving to an area that I've always wanted to be, and doing something that I truly love. Besides the fact that the bonus is that I'll be getting away from this archaic cannabis prohibition. Quite frankly, I've seen way too many lives ruined by these tremendously unjust laws. So I'm really looking forward to moving on and taking more control over my future. So anytime you can do that, it's a good thing. Anyway, figure out where you want to be and where you want to go, and just go for it, man. You know, do what you love, and the rest will fall into place. All right? Good luck.
Dude, we gotta write something new. Come on.
I don't like that. So far, off to a bad start.
Man, I doubt it.
Better, closer, warmer.
Oh my God, I'm peeking! Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
I love cannabis.
Get your instrument and play along.
How many moons has it been, darling? How many months since June? And how many lonesome wanderers wandering around with you? Wandering and wondering like
What kind of name is Clamper? That is a unique name.
I'm in a men's club it's called E Clamper's Vitus. Play on Elks Lodge, the Mason. It was back in the gold rush days. Gold miners, they wouldn't be able to have someone that could nominate them or that would nominate them to get them into the May Club. So they decided, screw it, we're going to make our own club. It's an honorable drinking society. Or a historical drinking honorable society. Pretty much, I go and, man, sometimes the initiations, they're all guys, the initiations, and, there'll be 500 guys at the initiations, and we'll go through 100 kegs, and there'll be, an 80-year-old guy passed out underneath the beer truck. Hardly any fights. The only girl you'll see is a blow-up doll dressed up as a Western whore. You know what I mean? It's really kind of cool, man.
And I just don't ask.
It's a don't ask, don't tell policy.
I think so. Yeah, I don't want to know.
So this is your given name. Clamper's your given name by the lodge. Okay.
No, actually, Clamper is what we all are called. It's E Clampus Vitus. They're all Clampers.
Multiple Clampers out in the world. There's multiple.
Oh, dude, I actually have the email or the Gmail Clamper3, and I get hit up all the time. Oh, are you a Clamper? Oh, you want to, I really like your email. Yeah, there are lots of Clampers out there, man, and use Facebook, and there's lots of Clampers. And number 3 happens to be the chapter that I'm in. It definitely is not a given name at all. It was just one of those easy things, I guess, that I came up with.
How do you identify one from the other? Like if you have a room full of Clampers, how do you know who you're talking to and who's doing what?
That the chapter-wise, it's kind of interesting. They'll wear skins, kind of like a motorcycle club kind of skin. So they'll have like their chapter number or whatever. And, but they're bar like here in town, about 15 minutes from my house, there's probably 2 Clamper bars. And if I wear my red Clamper shirt in, I'll get a discount. The bar owner will say, hey, what's up, brother? It's a pretty cool thing. And I've been a Clamper since my buddy took me in when I was 21. God damn, that was 20 years ago.
Well, that sounds like a whole interesting story on its own. I could ask you questions about that for hours and hours. But
yeah.
I'll reserve conversation for a different time.
I was growing weed back then too, even when we went to the clamping back then.
I wanna know about your involvement in the industry. You said originally you were doing edibles, or you had like an edible shop. Is that what the?
So what I do, basically, Clamper grows everything, and then I take what he grows, and then I make edibles. So I'm Melissa, and our company's name is Mouse's Edibles, and it's kind of like farm to the table kind of thing. Like I said, Clamper does the growing, and then I do the baking or cooking or whatever it is that people want, then I can create.
Nice. And what's the website or the Facebook? Where do you have your main communication?
So right now, really, is kind of on the the Dington, where we found you.
Okay.
So kind of more just there, and then we have our own connections, obviously, here locally that we work with.
So I've also, as being on the dank side, or I like to call it the dark side of the dank den, a lot of people order and continue ordering. We are starting to get more orders down here. We're getting to the point to where I'm running out of teeth and need more material. Which it tends to be the ongoing struggle, it seems like, for the canna industry. Really, it started from, it all started from, trying to help her get off of all of her narcotics and everything for what she does have. And
can you explain that for just a second? So it doesn't sound like I'm a total drug addict. The reason kind of the edible started, I have Crohn's disease. I've been diagnosed for quite a long time, but the past 2 years has been pretty much hell. I've gone through, in the past 2 years, probably 8 surgeries, but in the past year, this past year has been 6 surgeries. I don't like taking all this medication, and medication like chemotherapy, but it's chemotherapy that, like, I will never, it's not something that you will come off. It's not like it's a cure. Like a cancer where chemotherapy will cure you. There's no cure for what I have right now. So this is why we want to use cannabis and, whether it be THC, CBD, whatever, anything natural, and we use other things as well naturally. This is how we found the gummy recipe, basically, was looking for something to get into my system, but something healthy. A lot of the edibles that we found or talked about have a lot of sugars in them, which is really, for me specifically, not a healthy situation. So we looked up different ways of making edibles. And so basically with our edible company, we kind of do both. People who want kind of more of the natural, like no sugar kind of deal. And then we also do just the regular kind of edibles for people who want the actual real sugar and everything. Pretty much we try and get all, if we can, local stuff. So for me, local honey is what I use, and I can infuse that, or I infuse hemp oil, or I infuse coconut oil, and then I will, use it with honey. I will use products that will be safe on a person if they have any type of issue.
So let me recap just a little bit, because the audio connection is not the clearest. So I want to make sure everybody can understand exactly what you're saying here. So you have Crohn's disease. There's all sorts of physical ailments and stuff happening to your body that requires you to take some type of medication, either in the form of opiates and other types of narcotics, or something to help control and regulate those bodily dysfunctions. You take edibles, which is what spawned this edible company, and you currently make gummy type edibles. Is that what I'm hearing correctly?
Yeah, that's one of our biggest. We make all different types, but the gummies, I think, is our biggest right now.
Okay. So you're making an infused product. What type of infusion is it? Are we doing hash oil? Are we doing some type of other concentrate?
Right. With the gummies in particular, we infuse 2 different products. So kief, first decarb kief, and second infused hemp oil. And that's why I personally think our gummies are so awesome, because it's got 2 different ways that the medicine is hitting you.
Nice. And how much is the I guess the THC or the CBD? What is the potency of these gummies?
So we I can't tell you in our product, because I haven't tested the THC CBD. The only thing that I could say is we use 150 milligrams of kief per serving. But as far as, because I don't test our product at this point, I don't know as far as the THC CBD oil, content.
So what is the actual business and legal structure of your business? Are you working behind the curtain on this? Is this a California ordained business? Where do you sit in the California rules of things?
Right now, we're more behind the curtain as far as what we're selling, but we are totally legal as far as being able to grow and do that kind of stuff. It's hard in California. I know you guys in Colorado are dealing with it right now, but it's really hard as far as a business. I have a personal business other than this, so I know how to run a business, but this is very hard. So right now, all of that is behind the curtain, but I really would like to figure out a different way of doing this.
Okay. I mean, here in Colorado, you're right, there's a lot going on, but we have a lot of ability for retail to happen. Edibles are not really regulated to a point, but they do have to be tested. They have to be properly labeled, and people know exactly what they're getting to be bought through any type of retail location in that sense.
Right.
And that's one thing we know that is going to need to happen. Basically, this was just something that we started doing and talked about just to relieve Melissa from some of the narcotics she was taking, or from some of the other medications she was taking. Now that Melissa sees that she can help other people and give them some kind of relief, a lot of people, because of the edible industry, you're absolutely right. I know it needs to be tested. I know it has to be labeled, and I would want that from a consumer's point as well.
Absolutely. I mean, even here in Colorado, it's not that easy because the way the laws are set up is that only registered Colorado licensed dispensaries can have their products tested. So if you're just an individual off the street, it's not like you can go down to your local testing lab and have your product tested. Or if you are a individual manufacturer of something, you can't really have it tested either because a legal testing facility can only test products from legally licensed. So it's a difficult market even here.
Oh, in California, I can drive down the road, pay $120. They'll even put a picture of it on the internet for me with the whole results for it.
Manage your Instagram account and test your product.
And that's what's so crazy about the market. Is my love is where it starts at, and I give my love to my wife and my medicine to my wife and to myself and to a handful of good friends. And man, if I can pass some of that extra little, dream from my love onto some lucky extra patients and have it tested is ultimately the goal.
What does the edible do for your symptoms, Melissa? When you're suffering, is it coming and going? Is it a consistent constant? What does taking the edible actually do?
For me, recently, the suffering has been a constant. And what the edible does, within probably a half hour, just kind of relax, because my symptoms are like a stabbing pain in the abdomen. And so it will relax that like stabbing and bring it down to where it's like, okay, I can at least function. Because when it's so bad, I can't even get out of bed. Also for me, with my symptoms, I vomit a lot, which is horrible. And it really actually helps with the nausea a lot, more than any of the actual, like, doctor's medicine, the, pharmaceuticals. So for me, the nausea relief, pain relief, and then, of course, it really helps to get me to sleep because I'm up at least every hour with issues. If I eat an edible before bed, I will get maybe 4 hours straight sleep without, waking up. And that's the one thing that I love about, we get a lot of testimonials from our friends and, people that are in pain. The thing that I love to hear is they got a full night's sleep and, they were able to then function the next day because it made them relax enough to sleep. And that's the most exciting. One guy, he had a horrible accident and broke I don't know how many bones in his body, but his whole back. And he's really young and he ate one of my butterflies, and the gummies are butterflies. And he ate one, and he slept all night. And he said it was the first time he slept all night since the car accident. It makes us so excited. That's why we're here, to help those people that are suffering. We want to help those people.
Does it have to be in an edible form? What happens when you smoke flower?
I also do smoke. For me, personally, smoking is not such a great idea because I also do have asthma. So I also do have lung issues. I have a couple of different compounding medical things going on. But so for me, I believe it affects me is more of a healing the internal organs while I eat it. But smoking it, I definitely will do for immediate relief. Because obviously with the edibles, you have to wait at least a half hour.
It needs time to digest and get through your body and get into your bloodstream, which can take a few minutes.
Exactly, yeah. I smoke it for instant relief, but I eat it kind of for an all-day type of relief.
Right, longer lasting.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Is this something you want to focus on as a main business, or is it truly just to kind of feed your own medicine and, make ends meet?
Yeah, I think right now we're at the point where that is where we want to focus. We want to be able to help as many people as possible, and I think that is kind of the direction that our lights are going in right now. This is going to be our main focus. You
said you had another business. What type of business do you do?
Yeah. I'm a massage therapist, a holistic health practitioner. I've done that for 20 years, and it's my absolute passion, which again goes along with helping people and helping people in pain and helping people, relieve pain and getting through issues. So that is absolutely my passion, but because of my physical issues right now, I'm actually not able to do that at all and haven't been probably for about a year, which is really sad. So I feel like, well, where do I go now to help people? Because obviously that's what, why I'm here. So that's why I think the edibles are such a perfect next step. because it just incorporates into everything I already do anyway, helping people in a holistic way. So I think it's a perfect next step. And, soon, hopefully, very soon, I'll be able to get back into massage. So I will always do that because that is my passion. But I think this is definitely going to be our main focus.
And is Southern California the place to stay and grow this business, or do you think for time reasons you need to actually go to a Washington or a Colorado?
Such a great question, because that's where we're at. We actually, we've talked about this, for quite a long time. And last year I actually went up to Washington and fell in love with Washington and got a amazing, perfect job, like your perfect dream job in massage. And we were ready to move, and my body decided that's not okay for you right now. And that's when I just got sicker and sicker, and we stayed here because of the doctors that I'm involved with here. I'm at a teaching hospital, UCSD, and because for me, all of the medications that are approved for Crohn's, I have failed. So for me to be at a teaching hospital, kind of the best place, because they can put me into some studies for medications not approved yet that maybe will work for me. So that is the reason, other than family, our families are here in California, but other than that, the main reason we stayed in Southern California is for the doctors. But I know as soon as I get better, I think that definitely moving, Todd's been thinking Oregon.
The north side of Bend, right by the mountain range, just enough distance to kind of keep the weather off my greenhouse.
How long have you been growing, Clamper?
21 years.
Clamper's been growing pretty much. We've been together for 25 years now.
Wow.
Pretty much our whole, thank you. Pretty much our whole life. And when we were up north in California, he was growing for me, he says, because I was sick then, back 21 years ago, and that's when he got a little bit of trouble. That's what's such a bummer, because it's on his record for growing a plant. He was trying to help someone he loves, so it's kind of ridiculous. So again, a whole other story, because how we feel about that. It's kind of ridiculous.
I mean, that's a big deal, because here in Colorado, you can't get a job in the industry. They won't give you a license if you have any type of background offense against you.
Now, I wondered that, because if you have I know it's particular felony. Now, the felony I have is just cultivation. It's not sales or anything. It's just cultivation.
Yeah,
Would that still disqualify you?
I don't know. That would be a great question for a lawyer who specializes in this industry, or more so in California, if that's where you guys are going to stay, to really look into that question, because it's a question that's affecting many people. I've talked to many people who have a very similar story, that they either want to be part of the industry or they are, but they can't become legally part of it because they can't get the proper licensing because of something that happened, some arrest some years ago about possession or something else. And I've talked to many people, and it's the same story. So this is a question that's affecting the lives of many people. A very simple question of, if it's legal now and it's sweeping the country, becoming legal, do all those past charges for the same thing, should they still be on record? Why should you be barred from participating in the industry, from having a legally ordained business? It doesn't make sense, but it's going to be a difficult question to get through, because there's people that are trying to block this industry at every turn.
Right. And where we live, actually, we're in San Diego, but we're in a part of San Diego that is very conservative. So it's very interesting to be doing what we're doing where we live, even to the point where it's such a small town, everyone knows your name kind of deal. It's just very interesting. It's such a bummer, because, again, it's such a beautiful medicine, and it's a plant. And we had an unfortunate incident just a couple months ago with the police, and they came to our grow, and basically, for not even our grow, a totally different situation. And they know I'm sick. They've documented that I'm sick. They know that, but they still come and fuck with you. And it's like, why can I grow rosemary or thyme or any other herb, lavender, whatever that helps, but I can't grow this herb that's amazing? It's such a bummer. And they bug you. They're just a nuisance. They just bug us. They can't do anything, because, like I said, we're very legal as far as our grow. Everything with that is legal. It's the business part of it that I'm really wanting to get into that is very difficult because of the legality.
Right. Do you have any type of felony background where you would be barred from the industry?
No.
I would say if you're wanting to make a business in this industry, to speed things up, waiting on California legislation to catch up might be a while. I would really say, you know, Washington or Colorado is probably the fastest way to legitimately get into a business.
Right.
I mean, if you're really wanting to pursue it as a business, because things are moving so fast and there's so many people coming from other states to Colorado and Washington, but, you know, more to Colorado to pursue businesses that literally 6 months to a year could be a long time as far as other businesses already getting in the game.
Right.
That's how fast things are moving. That's how fast growth is and everything else that's exploding from this industry in this state alone. That, you know, 6 months is a lifetime in the sense of waiting for a business to start. That would be my recommendation, where if you're really wanting to pursue this as a business, decide where is the fastest place you can actually start a business. Above board, because obviously above board is the only way to really grow a business into long-term profitability. And Colorado has 300 plus days a year of sunshine, just like California. A lot of people don't know that.
Right? I think it's cold.
Don't get me wrong. There are, you know, some winter nights that can get very cold, and there will be days that it'll snow. But overall, there's still 300 plus days of sunshine. It's a great state. I mean, our whole state has the population of probably the suburb that's, you know, just there in San Diego. So still has a lot of room. It's a great state to be in.
Clamper loves it there. He loves it there.
Yeah, I guess if you've never been here, it's hard to, you know, it's like describing the color red to a blind person, you know. It's hard to do. So what was your overall infrastructure for being able to go and start a business? Are you kind of mom and pop, you know, just working your own credit cards and checking accounts to get this business going, or are you looking towards a bank loan or something more extravagant? What's kind of the big picture in launching this?
Right now, you know, we've just been mom and pop in it. We've been kind of dealing with stuff on PayPal. I kind of need to get out of. You know, being in the cannabis industry, it's kind of hard to find a secure situation to deal with your flow. That's been the situation so far. It looks like now things are starting to pick up more. More and more orders are coming in to the point where we're going to have to take on partners, possibly, just to be able to have access to some of the material.
I was going to say, that's a good point. If you're going to bring on partners, there's going to be a time when you're going to have to kind of break it down, your business model and your business for partners. How do you do your organization? Do you do your own bookkeeping, and do you do your own inventory, and you have like a spreadsheet?
You're so above what we've even gone through and gotten together. This is so, I guess, definitely considering what you're talking about, this is definitely a fly-by-night kind of a thing, then I would consider it.
We won't put that on the business card, the fly-by-night.
I think it's because it just started.
But you know what I mean? I mean, we're so new that we just haven't thought about that kind of stuff.
Well, it went so fast.
Right.
Like, we just gave some to friends, and then bam, orders keep coming in faster, obviously, than we can fill them.
Okay, so this is actually a good kind of insight to what happens. So do you have a plan of attack? How are you going to handle this influx of orders and keep it organized and growth and try to, I mean, do you have kind of an overall, something you can visualize to handle this? Because, I mean, if you have a product that people are ordering and you're getting orders that are growing, I mean, that's a good thing, but it could also be kind of the death of everything if it kind of just overwhelms the situation.
Well, and that's kind of why we've only kept this to the situation on the bank side. On the bank side of all of the communication. And I use PayPal, so I've got all my accounting information right there. If I want to, usually I can print a shipping label off of PayPal. So the little things like that, sure. And that's one reason, really, we haven't gone out and dropped them everywhere. Even our friend was talking about, what about packaging? Well, you're right. Now we're talking about packaging and labeling.
We've already got those
but we haven't gotten yet. You know what I mean?
It's just that fast.
Yeah.
And that's why all of a sudden these partners, coming in and they're asking us to, that they want to invest. We didn't go out seeking partners. They actually kind of found us. They asked us to partner up with them. So obviously that's brand new and not something we're in discussions with. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, as far as like accounting and stuff, it's kind of all, like you saying, handwritten. I handwrite it all down because I'm old school. He's all computerized. He does it all on the computer.
Not necessarily that you need to have a full, spreadsheet going and, everything, but just the basic, as far as buying ingredients versus what you're selling it for, looking at the margin of food costs. I mean, just having a basic pie chart of this is how much money we're spending to buy the food. This is how much energy we're spending to produce the food. This is what we're selling it at. Here's the plus minus sign. Here's just some basic.
Correct.
1, 2, 3 type stuff.
Right.
Not that you have to really pull out a Quicken's book and start digging in deep and all that.
Right.
Basic organization going.
Absolutely.
Right.
So how do you handle that? Do you just go to the local grocery store and pick up some ingredients and then make some and sell what you make? Or are you making based on orders? What comes first, the product or the order?
We base it on orders because we're using all natural products. There is like a shelf limit, there's no preservatives. So when we get orders, then I make it. And that's why we've also gotten to other stuff other than gummies, because I've said, well, what specifically do you like? And then I'll make that for a specific person, whatever they happen to like. It's definitely based on orders because I want it to be as fresh as possible. What we say is you order it, and then basically if you order it within about 2 or 3 days, I'll have it made. We'll have it shipped. It comes in about 2 days. And so you'll get your product start to finish in a week. If we have materials, but our problem is, like Clamper was saying, is now we can't even supply our own materials because whatever he grows is, bam, it's done. Orders are in so quick, and people will order 2 gummies, and then they fall in love with them, and the next order is 60. And you're like, oh, whoa. At this point, we kind of have to do partners. At this point, we cannot keep up the supply.
Well, because now there's a question of real supply and demand taking effect where, your people are demanding something and you can only grow so fast. So now there's a whole bunch of other questions that have to come up. Questions like, do we continue to make the gummies out of flour, or do we make the flour into concentrate and then use the concentrate to make the gummies? There's a whole bunch of questions. Do we start pre-buying ingredients so we have them on hand, so we can make some product beforehand? Is 2-3 days turnaround time fast? How is the mailing going? Is it being shipped out just standard mail, or is there a special agreement that you've worked out with UPS or Amazon to get some type of prime shipping? There's a whole bunch of questions now because there's going to be more expense that's going to be required.
Right.
It's exciting, though, isn't it? I mean, can you feel the excitement that there's a possibility of something growing into an actual cannabis business?
Yes.
and it's pretty neat, and especially being able to sit back and watch Melissa be able to provide for the family. I know that makes her feel real good.
Yeah, it was really, really difficult for me to not work. I worked up until basically it was like, I'm going to die if I keep working. Physically, this was just too much on my body. And for me to not be able to provide for my family financially, it was really devastating, like very, very, very devastating. And when I got sick, Clamper pretty much decided to stay home with me because I can't take care of the kids like I used to. I can't do the stuff I used to. Clamper is pretty much full-time home with me as well. This is super exciting to basically be like, we can both be home together and still create this business and still help people and still be able to feed our family.
You really have a good recipe of a successful entrepreneur because you're coming from a background of necessity. So your motivation is kind of, you're going to die, maybe literally, if you don't succeed, which is a different type of motivation from somebody who's just wanting to start a business and, if they fail, they'll look bad in front of their friends and family, something that's more embarrassing rather than actually threatening.
Absolutely. In my situation, from a grower, I consider it the commercial grower versus the medical grower. And there's a huge difference. And I know even in Colorado, there's a huge difference. I know some really, really phenomenal commercial growers but it's a commercial grow, and I know some really, really shitty, medicinal growers, but man, they put their heart into it. I mean, it's their medicine, you know what I mean? And big difference. And I think the same comes out in the industry as well. And not to say it's a bad thing at all, because I obviously being a commodity, you're going to have the commercialism. I think we do need the recreational as well as the medicinal. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, I agree. I mean, I personally believe that it should all be available recreationally to anybody, just as an alcohol store, because that's the way we voted it into our Constitution, is to be regulated like alcohol. So we should be able to have bars, we should be able to have stores, and we should still have a medical program, but not a restrictive medical program. I think anybody who wants to self-declare themselves using it for medicinal purposes should be able to, for whatever reason they feel it is helping them.
Absolutely. Like a bottle of Tylenol almost. Our oldest daughter even got her recommendation at the age of 18. Our doctor didn't want to give it to her, but we knew because of her knee issues, we knew she had real knee issues and depression issues. Marijuana helped. And the doctor listened to us and took that into consideration and gave her her recommendation at the age of 18. I think in certain circumstances, there's definitely the viable opportunity where it can be medicinal. God, the videos of the kids in Colorado and the families moving from all over the states, all over the world to Colorado, just to get a taste of some of the RSO oil and, the angel's tears. God, dude, it's heartbreaking, and it's so amazing. Then you roll it right back into the commercialism, and it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. These are all issues. We don't necessarily have to cure all of these political issues. I think all we have to do is just keep moving forward, doing what you're doing, doing what I'm doing, just keep being part of the industry. What's the next step for you?
Ultimately, the next step for us is partnering up, getting a resource for more material, packaging, and prepping for sales in a retail position. And at that point, then I think we've already started business license kind of application, registration, that kind of thing. So it's all moving forward. It's just all kind of really caught us off guard. Really stoked to be part of it. Our kids are around, and our kids are part of it, and our kids really know nothing different. So,
you know what I want to do is I want to check back in with you in about 90 days, because I think this is exciting, because it's kind of like witnessing the beginning of a real growth of something. So I think with all that's happening and happening so fast, if I can just check back in within 90 days, we're going to see drastic changes from this conversation to the conversation in 3 months from now.
I agree. Well, it's kind of funny when the police did come to our house. The sheriff had been to our house before, and he said, "Man, you guys have you've definitely expanded, huh, Mr. Winnegar?" And I looked at him and I said, "Yep, Melissa's, Melissa juices, and Melissa makes a lot of edibles, man, for herself. Like, that's how we deal with it. That's what it's for, man." I mean, really, that ultimately they must have made the assumption that was the case and left us with all our medicine and all our equipment. So I've been happy about that.
They were actually really cool because they agreed it was medicine. It was neat to see the cops agreeing to the fact that this is used as a medicine and that we're not crazy druggy house, that we do have kids. It's so cute because I'm sitting in the kitchen making cookies for my patients, my customers. At the same time, I'm making cookies for baseball for my child. Not at the same time, but So I'll mix them up. But it's just so funny. Like, we are such the normal family. And we have such great family values, and our kids all have great, amazing grades at school, and they're also intelligent and very personable. And it's amazing to see, because here in California, because we do have a medical grow, even though it's legal, the police have to tell PPS, Child Protective Services, which of course scares us. But the cops said there's no way they're going to do anything. You can look at our children, and there's no way they're neglected. We're such great parents, on top of the fact that we just happen to have a medical marijuana business. I'm hoping that this is kind of the way things are going to be turning out, that people won't look at us as we're just these crazy druggies, but that we really are doing something to try and help people, and we can do that and still be, a family.
That's a perfect note to end on, because I think that's the best thing for people to hear, the best message from this conversation we've had. Believe it or not, we've already come up on an hour.
Oh, wow.
It
Wow.
shows that there's so much more to be talked about. So I want to make sure that I have the chance to touch back with you in at least 3 months to see where you've come, where you've advanced, and really get into these topics even more. Just like learning about the Clamper Club organization, I could go all night long with questions on that, and we could definitely keep going all night long talking about this issue. But let's call it a night for tonight, and just keep you in the loop. And keep checking in and watching your advancement through this process. I think it's exciting.
I appreciate you taking the time with us. And truthfully, you brought up a lot of issues and questions that I haven't thought about, hadn't even thought about. So it helped me out, and definitely the advancement of the situation. So I appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you very much for being part of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And congratulations on your upcoming arrival. I'm excited to hear when you check back with us on what's going on with you.
Yes. Our new son will have been born by the end of May 27th, the expected date.
Oh, how exciting. Oh.
Well, I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks for listening to this week's show. Make sure to come back next week. We're going to have more guests lined up, speaking with dispensary owners, growers, business owners. Make sure to follow us on all of the social media, Facebook, Google+. You can listen to our shows live from the website or your preferred listening platform. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, even YouTube, all under the same name, CannabisCommunityProject.com. We'll see you next week.
Come on!